In 1958, Rashid Nezhmetdinov sat across from Lev Polugaevsky. What followed wasn't just a game, it was a violent poem written on 64 squares. We start with a standard King's Indian structure as the battle for the center begins. Pawn to d4, knight to f6, pawn to c4, pawn to d6, pawn to e4, pawn to e5. White takes the center, and Rashid challenges it immediately. Knight to c3, pawn takes d4, queen takes d4, knight to c6. White brings out the queen early, but black develops with tempo, forcing that queen to find a new home. Queen to d2, pawn to g6, pawn to b3, bishop to g7. Polugaevsky prepares to fianchetto his bishop while Rashid solidifies his dark square presence. Bishop to b2, castles. Bishop to d3, knight to g4. Rashid starts looking at the king side. This knight move is a warning shot aimed at the f2 and h2 squares. Knight to e2, queen to h4. Knight to g3, knight to e5. The queen lands on h4, and the pressure on f2 is serious. Rashid is telling a future grandmaster, "I'm coming for your king." Castles, pawn to f5, pawn to ff3, bishop to h6. As soon as white castles, Rashid rips the position open. He uses the tempo to reposition his bishop to a more annoying diagonal. Queen to d1, pawn to f4, knight to e2, pawn to g5. White tries to blunt the attack, but Rashid gains space, kicking the knight and launching a full-scale pawn storm. Knight to d5, pawn to g4. Pawn to g3, pawn takes g3. Pawn takes g3, queen to h3. Pawn to f4, bishop to e6. The lines open. Rashid's queen is deep in white territory, and he calmly develops his last piece to join the hunt. Bishop to c2, rook to f7, king to f2, queen to h2 check. This is the turning point. The white king is forced out of safety and into the center of the board. This is usually a death sentence. King to e3, bishop takes d5, pawn takes d5, knight to b4. The king is running, and Rashid simplifies the center to ensure there is no escape. Rook to h1. Polugaevsky plays rook to h1, attacking the queen. It looks like the attack is over, but Nezhmetdinov sees something no one else does. Rook takes f4! The move that shook the world. He ignores the queen. He leaves his most powerful piece hanging for a single pawn and a dream of an attack. Rook takes h2, rook to f3 check, king to d4, bishop to g7. White takes the queen, and Rashid follows with a quiet bishop move. Look at the board. The white king is now caught in a net made of his own pieces. Pawn to a4, pawn to c5 check. Pawn takes c6, pawn takes c6. The noose tightens. The king has nowhere left to hide. Bishop to d3, knight takes d3 check. King to c4, pawn to d5 check. The discovered check forces the king further into the abyss. It's a literal firing squad. Pawn takes d5, pawn takes d5 check. King to b5, rook to b8 check. King to a5, knight to c6 check. Driven to the edge of the board, checkmate is inevitable. In this position, Polugaevsky resigned. Nezhmetdinov proved that material is an illusion and dynamic energy is everything. If you enjoyed this masterpiece, hit subscribe for more legendary breakdowns.